from starting with a single course and coming to the position that this is more important. You begin to think of future development, and you think of a change in education generally. And I began to think that way in the United States, and I'm sure you did the same way here. I began to think of the possibilities that this would be a new development that would be taken up by everyone. I overlooked some facts. I overlooked some important facts. Things do not go as quickly as we would like. Things do not change as quickly as we would like, or as drastically as we would like. And I'm not certain, now I say this very carefully, I'm not certain that we can change them to a sufficient degree without some outside help. I don't know what kind of a miracle is required. I think that we have had great success in convincing individual teachers who really like to teach, who have the good of their pupils at heart. We've had great success with them. They have done what they could. That is not always what they want to do. They have done what they could, and they've improved their teaching. But we have not been accepted by the educational establishment. No, I think not. Maybe here more than in the States. Here I see developments that look better. But I think in the States we have not been accepted. Yet nowhere do I see any drastic change. And I say it like this. If you have a handbag, or if you have a box in which to carry things, you have some things that you always carry in that box, and the box is so shaped inside to fit these things, so that you put this in that place and this in that place and so on. Now, if you get something new to put in the box, you have to change the nature of the box. And that's the hardest thing to do, because around the actual educational picture, there's a supporting picture. There is the involvement of administrators who have learned to do certain things because of the nature of what's in the box. It's a strange kind of situation we have. The institution gets so elaborate and so complex that you cannot do much with it. You cannot get inside of it without losing shape. You can't put your finding into the box without changing the finding. You can't put the way of teaching into the box without changing the box itself. You've got to have, that's not a good simile perhaps, I'll come up maybe with a better one, but the structure of the whole determines what is in it to a great degree. It was made around group instruction by the lecture method since Comenius and before. It was made for that, and everybody's job is based upon what's going on here and there, and we're all working within that framework. The man who keeps the record of the grades, the man who cleans the windows, everybody in the whole institution is involved, and they have come to accept this way of doing things. The deans are concerned with the problems that arise from group instruction. They're trying to solve the problems that arise when students cheat, when students do things they shouldn't do, when nobody learns, or when they've got this and that and the other trouble. The deans are so concerned with that. That's what their job is these days. The teachers, they do what they can, but they don't know how to teach effectively, and they've never learned how to teach effectively, many. And when they try, they run into trouble. I know of people who have lost their jobs because they started to use PSI. They've lost their jobs because they're spending too much time with their teaching, not enough time with their research, and it is well known that promotion depends upon research, primarily. So they've either lost their jobs or they have changed their ways. A man came to me and told me not long ago, I am sorry that I'm not teaching well anymore. I'm not teaching with PSI. I had to discontinue it. The dean told me that my future depended upon doing research, and I was spending too much time with PSI. And I need to look after my family. I have to do this. Now, this is what happens. Not only that, there are many other obstacles. You know some of them. You know all of them. The attitudes of those around you, the other teachers who do not care for the way you're doing. You're too popular, or you're doing too good a job. People don't always want you to do a good job. And most teachers that I know did not go into teaching because they love students. They go into teaching to get a job, to do research, to get a fame, but they do not think of going into teaching just in order to see students grow. That is not enough of a reinforcement. That's not enough of a reward for many teachers. I don't know of many teachers who went into teaching just because they like to see students learn. I really don't. I'm sorry. That's the way I see it. They go for other reasons. The students learn something. Some of them learn something. But we've got a system in this group instruction. We've got an elitist system. We've got a system that really is elitist. It is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Nobody can start unless he's in help here or help there, or he's got help there. He's had special background here. All of these things are there. You tell people that it's elitist, they say, no, it's very democratic. Nonsense. It is not democratic. Our teaching system throughout the world is not democratic. And I have come to feel that we cannot maybe do much about it, that the obstacles are so great that sometimes I think only a complete collapse, and it's approaching that. I think the education is getting worse and worse in the United States, and the teachers are being complained about, the students are being complained about, and all of the old answers are being given, and none of them are any good. None of the old answers will serve us today. That's what I'm finding, and I feel very, very sad about it. I'll continue. I keep hoping. When I see signs of youngsters, little ones, beginning to learn by this way, and I begin to think of the possibilities of advance. What would it mean if we all started with PSI? We all started with individualized, personalized instruction, and went in the direction that we need to go. Any direction is good. Any direction is good. If you learn, you're happy. If there's good learning, you can be happy at almost any kind of a job. I think the kind of teaching determines your happiness. The way, if you are learning, that itself is satisfying. You don't need any great relevance. You will learn Sanskrit just as readily as you will learn how to make a basket. I think that is my feeling, because there is always happiness, there's always growth, there's always reinforcement when you are learning. I don't see any problem of I think people could go in this direction and work in that area and never fail. They go through there and they never know failure. They never know failure. They may know that they stop at this point because they don't care to go on. But they didn't get here through the wrong method. You got to this level by learning and mastering whatever you had to learn. That, I think, is terribly important. But that will not take place, I'm afraid. It has taken place in the past. Teachers of sculpture teach this way, or there are many other skills that are taught this way, and before there was group instruction, it was all that way, I suppose. And there were differences, of course, but in the abilities of those who were teaching. But fathers taught sons, and brothers taught younger sons, and all of that. These are natural things. And this is what PSI is. It's a very natural, honest way of going ahead without punitive consequences, without punishment. Only reward, you might say. The only thing is, if you didn't succeed the first time, you try again. I'm oversimplifying perhaps. I don't know whether I am or not. But I'm not very, I'm afraid, I'm not very hopeful right now about the acceptance of the entire system over any large population very soon. I don't know what the approach could be. Maybe I've said we'll start with children. I think maybe that's best, because parents then might be aware of the fact that there are ways by which children can advance in their knowledge with happiness, without the whip, without any kind of a chicote, without any kind of a punitive situation, and yet do very well. I believe this is possible. I believe that it is the right way, but I don't see it immediately. I would like to. I see changes, but changes are dangerous. If you improve your teaching a little bit, and then you are content. You use these people, PSI people, they bring you something, you use it, you do better than you did before. You say, that's good. I won't go as far as this. I will do this. And you did better than you did before, and so that's fine. But you do not accept, you do not understand the system. Maybe everybody needs to be taught with the rats in the cages before they understand the system. I don't know. Maybe you've got to have an education back of all this before you can fully appreciate the impact of our system. I have a friend at the University of Texas who has taught now more than 10 years with PSI. Right as good as it could be within that kind of an environment. He continues to use it. He's the most successful teacher in the place. And not only that, he's got many other teachers to do this. But still, he has not had any impact on that university as a whole. Those people who know what they want to teach and are responsible, who feel the responsibility. For example, if I'm going to teach a man to pilot a plane, I don't want him to be a C student. I don't want him to be a middle student. I want him to know what he's doing. And every engineer wants their men to know what they're doing. You build a bridge, you don't want to build a bridge that's going to break in two. You don't want to... these are things, they know what they want, and they want to have it well incorporated within their students. They readily accept PSI. Readily. There'll be some who like to show off. There will be some who like to use the whip. I think there are people who are teaching who just do it for the fun of it. They don't really care about the students. They put on their show, or they demand this or that, and they say I'm not going to give you anything until you get this, and they give 5 good grades, and all of the rest go down the drain. That kind of thing occurs. I think that some people do not want PSI for the simple reason that it's against their natural talents as artists. They're against their natural talents as actors and that kind of thing. In medicine, some of the teachers are showmen, and they love it. They enjoy it, but that isn't where the teaching is done. The teaching is done by the students reading the book and working very hard, or working in the clinic or something like that. I'm getting now a little loose in my talk. Brain. That kind of thing occurs. I think that some people do not want PSI for the simple reason that it's against their natural talents as artists. They're against their natural talents as actors and that kind of thing. In medicine, some of the teachers are showmen, and they love it. They enjoy it, but that isn't where the teaching is done. The teaching is done by the students reading the book and working very hard, or working in the clinic or something like that. I'm getting now a little loose in my talk.